UNC Police releasing the all clear. Their alert Carolina all clear, resume normal activities. So just as we were saying, we wait to get that final word from them. We just got that breaking news in that they have given the all clear now. So resume normal activities there on UNC Chapel Hill.
Yeah, surely that's going to make some parents feel some relief when they hear from their children and their students on campus that everything is okay on campus. Again, waiting for an update as to what happened earlier and who is responsible. I know they sent a picture out, authorities releasing a picture without a name, asking people to look out for that person that was a person of interest involved in the chaos on campus there today. But we'll be getting an update surely from authorities at some point about that person's involvement in all
Yeah,
this.
we haven't had, they haven't been able to give a press conference or give any updates from the police department, but we do anticipate that that will happen hopefully sometime this evening as what has transpired here today and the timeline of events. But it's been about 3 hours and 15 minutes of an active situation on UNC Chapel Hill, and they just gave the all clear. Lockdown has been lifted more than 3 hours after that initial lockdown came into place.
And it makes sense, Amber. Again, we talked about the mood on campus, looking at the live images that we're getting in. It doesn't seem like the moments are as tense as they were a few hours ago, and students seem to be walking a little more casually and a little more carefree than they were when we first started seeing images from campus, as you mentioned, just after 1 o'clock when we first got the news that this story was happening.
We have been hearing from a lot of students from their firsthand accounts of what they have gone through today, just from getting that initial alert. We spoke to one earlier today who happens to be a grad student from Germany. This is what he had to say about living through this experience today.
I moved here a week ago, and obviously you hear about stuff like that on the news, and I was not expecting it to actually happen that quickly. I told my family nothing is going to happen, it's safe. I'm kind of doubting that right now. I also talked to some of my American fellow students and asked them, are you used to stuff like that happening? And they were like, no, how could you be used to that? Like, I think everyone's feeling the same right now, and I don't know what to feel. I can say that I've never witnessed something like that where I'm from.
And where are you from?
I'm from Germany, Berlin. And obviously, in my opinion, that is due to differences in gun policies.
And that was another foreign exchange student that we heard from that kind of describes the difference in being home and here in the U.S. and things that they've noticed since being here in our country, and just the unsettling nature of something like this happening, especially when you say you told your family it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. Yeah. I'm going to learn. I'm going to educate myself, get a degree, and this is day 6 of classes for students.
That same student talked about how do I go back to class tomorrow after going through something like this and act like everything's okay. And that is what we heard from one of the other students who was locked in the bathroom, a total of 8 of them in there. She said, I'm from a very small town in North Carolina, and I'm a freshman. This is my 6th day of class. This is trauma, in her words, this is traumatizing for me to go through this experience today. She was whispering on the phone, so there's a lot of terror and fear for the students. So your heart goes out to them.
Certainly, I think a lot of students that were posting online were saying, "Do not call me. I don't want to talk." That kind of thing, because they were trying to be as quiet as possible, not knowing what's happening outside the walls of their room or bathroom or wherever they were trying to take shelter in regards to this situation. So you just can't imagine. And I was exchanging texts with the parent of a student saying, we didn't have to worry about these things when I was in school. I never had active shooter training, but I have nieces that are 19 that are sophomores in college. And, you hear the stories of what they have to go through to exist in the world today. And it's different. It's a different time, a different day. And so, yeah, we think about these students.
They have a lot of different challenges than we had growing up, for sure. And this is going to be one, as we said, that is going to be dissected and talked about going forward. It's going to set the tone for the year for so many of these students. There's just going to be a lot of follow-up to this situation, to how the communication has been handled, to how just protocols that have been handled throughout the day. I will say that they were on campus very fast. That's what we did hear from a lot of those students today, just how quickly they were on the campus and how fast the mood can change once those alerts come out.
Now, you did mention the all clear, so let's go back to Sean Coffey, who's on campus, to sort of describe for us, Sean, the mood there on campus. What can you tell us that you're noticing there where you are since that all clear was given?
Yeah, it's changed within the last 5 to 10 minutes.
See behind me, foot traffic is back up really almost to a normal kind of clip here. We're right in the heart of campus at the corner of Raleigh and South, and since that all clear was given, you've seen even more people trickle out into the street. This is also the first time in the last 3 hours, this is 3 hours and 17 minutes since that alert was sent out, that we've seen non-emergency traffic allowed to drive on South Avenue. The road's slowly being opened up to traffic. You can see the line of cars behind me and the long line of people out there. And frankly, if you were to look at the faces of the students, it's kind of a mixed bag. You see some that are clearly, I think, in distress and probably still some shock based on how quickly this happened, and maybe haven't been able to process fully, and some that seem really quite comfortable and happy to be out of whatever lockdowns or shelter-in-place situation that they were in. But here in the heart of campus, this is the first time that we've sort of seen the semblance of normalcy here. When we first arrived, there was truly nobody out here. That's sort of been the case up until we've seen more and more of these people trickle out of the classroom. But now kind of a normal scene here on South Road, as you see a long line of traffic and all the students kind of ushering out into the street behind me. So for the first time here, kind of a glimpse into normalcy here at UNC.
And Sean, I know you've had an opportunity to talk to people, and we've been talking to people on the phone who were locked down and sheltered inside classroom buildings and inside dorm rooms and inside the student union, and obviously such a worrisome afternoon for them. They've been very concerned. They didn't know exactly what was happening on campus. You've had a chance to talk to more and more of those students. How did they describe for you what was happening inside individual buildings where they were, especially there on South Campus, which has been the epicenter of this law enforcement activity?
I mean, the ones that were in this vicinity of campus, the ones that were in and around the buildings that police have really been focused on, I think a couple things jump out. First off, like you said, kind of the not knowing. I mean, really sort of being reliant on updates through UNC social media pages, and for some cases, what they're hearing us deliver on the air is sort of a freaky situation to be in, because here you are, you think you might be safe, you're following instructions, but you really don't know, and you don't know what's happening outside the doors behind you, or where this person that the police are looking for might be. And then the other thing I think is just sort of the realization slowly that this is real. That's sort of been a phenomenon that we've heard from several students on scene here, is sort of, a siren goes off, and we've heard the reaction to the siren is obviously, okay, something's the matter, but, as you slowly begin to realize that this isn't a drill, that this is real life, and that people are in danger on campus, the police are saying that you're in danger, I think that hits you pretty severely. So it was sort of a phenomenon that took me back in our talks with students here, and one that was shared amongst a number of students. It's just sort of the slow realization of what's actually happening out there, because these kinds of things understandably take a little bit of time to process. I think students will be processing it for some time to come.
Yeah, and such a rough way to start the school year. This is week 2, day 6 of classes on the Chapel Hill campus, and especially for first-year students. You can imagine how frustrating and frightening this has been.
Right, the innocence and excitement going to college for the first time, and then it all gets kind of snatched away from you on day 6 of school.